All right, so good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Slack Smack. This is a special edition today. It's Slack Smack Deep, and today we're going to be joined by Ambra Marcucci. Did I say that right? I hope I did.
Yes.
She's going to be a new player for the WFLA's New York Stars, and we're really excited to have her on and talk about her experiences growing up and playing football. Growing up in the Netherlands, playing football in Portugal, and all kinds of stuff. So, Ambra, it's really good to have you on today.
Thank you. I'm very excited.
It's our pleasure. So, your amazing story began in the Netherlands as well as living in Italy. Can you begin by telling us some about growing up in both countries?
Yes. Okay. So I was born in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. My parents, my twin sister and me, we were living with my Dutch grandparents. Since my parents were still young when they got us, and my father was a semi-professional football player, we moved in with my grandparents. And by the age of 2, we moved to Italy to stay with my Italian family. Of course, there's a huge difference in culture,
Sure.
but I hope I got the best of both worlds. Dutch people are very, let's say, disciplined. They're very organized, hardworking, practical, and Italians are a bit different. You know, they are more family-oriented. They can be a bit loud. They're not so organized, but they're super generous. They're super tasteful, and they really love good food. And let's say that I have the hardworking, disciplined thing from the Netherlands, and let's say I'm also family-oriented, and the food-loving part is more from my Italian side. So I guess that's
Yeah, I would get in a lot of trouble in Italy, man. That food is so good. My God. That's the truth. Now, living in Portugal, I'd be remiss not to mention that you speak Portuguese as well. And since we're broadcasting from Brazil, preciso falar pouco no português também. Você pode falar uma coisa para eles?
Sim, eu posso falar. O que eu posso dizer? Obrigada a todos que estão a ver essa interview e espero que vão gostar.
Não, é ótimo. Então, you have an identical twin sister. Her name is Martika. Did I say that right? Martika.
Yes.
Okay, now she lives in the UK, and normally twins who are identical, from what I've heard, are extremely competitive. So do you think being a twin has helped fuel all the accomplishments you've made so far in your young life?
Well, that's interesting that you're saying that. Although it's great to be twins, the annoying part of it is that we're always compared to each other, you know, and my sister was always the better one in school, like she always had a bit higher grades than me. So it often happened that a colleague would come up to me and say, "Hey, what kind of grade did you have for that subject?" And I would say, "Yeah, I had an 8 out of 10. Ah, but your sister had a 9 out of 10. You know, I did not like that. And that happened all the time. So it made me a little bit insecure. But on the other hand, I always had someone to look up to, you know?
Sure.
And I also had someone to make my exams.
Yeah, that's a bonus.
Yes, and I have to admit that she made some exams for me, and it was good. No, but I'm very grateful to have a twin sister. Like, I think anybody who is in a twin relationship understands, but people who are not twins, they will never really understand the bond and the strength of that bond. It's completely actually magical. I can say it like that.
Sure. Now, it just going on a side note on that, I'm just curious if this is true. Now, I've heard that when you have a twin, even when they're far away from you, you can kind of sense things between each other. Like if something happens bad, you can really sense it. If not to the degree of sometimes with films, like somebody burns their hand and then you feel it, that type of deal. But is there that kind of sense of you guys, especially growing up, you can kind of sense what's going on in each other's lives?
Yes, actually, I experienced that a lot with my sister. She didn't experience it that much with me, also because I'm the more sensitive of the two. I remember that when I was in Brazil, when she was in Brazil, sorry, she was doing voluntary work in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
And she was there for about 3 months. And the first week, she was having like this culture shock. She was staying in a very poor neighborhood, and so she was feeling extremely anxious. She was feeling sad, but she didn't want to talk with me because she knew that I was going to be worried, But I felt it. I was at home and I felt like anxious. I felt stressed. I felt a lot of emotions, but I couldn't explain them, So I was
Sure.
talking to mom, and I was like, Mom, I feel so bad and I don't know why. So she was like, well, let's call your sister and see if she's all right. And yeah, so we found out that she was having a hard time, like in her first week in Brazil. She didn't want to go outside of the door because it was very dangerous, but she didn't want to tell us because she wanted us to, not worry about her and her new adventure. So that was pretty crazy. And even more crazy was when we both had operate like surgeries on our knees.
Right.
We had like ACL, I guess it's called ACL in English.
ACL. Yeah, sure. Uh-huh.
I had two and she had one. So when she had her operation, I swear that I felt my knee like moving inside.
Wow.
It sounds crazy for you or other kind of people that I tell this to, but it's really true. Like I felt that. So
That's amazing. No, I've really heard that before. I have friends that are identical twins, and they've told me that happens, and it just you get amazed by the stories that people tell, especially wow, it's a surgery that I just got goosebumps, man. That's unbelievable. That's so cool.
Yeah, being twins had so many more advantages. Like, for example, we did so many things as twins. For example, we had one driver's license for a while before.
That's awesome.
We also had one scooter license when we were a bit younger. Then, of course, the other one also took it. But it was, convenient in the beginning. I mean, why not?
Oh, well, okay, then you have to tell me, did you do the old date switch? Come on, man. You're going to come up. You had to use it once. Come on.
I will admit one time.
Yes. That's classic.
It was not that bad. So my sister was dating this guy, but we were young, and it was just something that just started, So she was like, we were somewhere in a cafe, and we saw this guy, and she was like, Ambra, just go say hi to him. You have to laugh about it when I think about it again. Said, just go up to him and say hi. So I was like going up to him, and he wanted to give me a kiss. I was like, oh wait.
And you call her over and say, hey, he wants to talk to you. So
it was really fun.
Oh, that's cool. That's so awesome. Now, sports runs in the blood of your family. I mean, you and your sister are very accomplished athletes. Your sister is a bodybuilder. You play professional American football. Your father, as you mentioned, played professional soccer. Was your mother like an Olympic gold medalist? Or, I mean, if not, how was she in her support role with everybody being so involved in sports?
Yeah, well, my mom, she likes to go for a run. She loves yoga, but she was never really like an athlete. Mm-hmm. But she has always been extremely supportive, like since the beginning. Because me and my sister, we were 12 when we started playing soccer in the Netherlands, and she would come to every single game. So she was always very supportive. Also because of my dad, of course. Like she was married to an athlete, so she knew what she was putting herself into.
Sure.
And so it really helped a lot. Yeah.
Now, as you got older, you pursued your PhD, and one side of it psychology, the other side being law. What was your inspiration to get this, and how do you intend to use that in the future?
Wait, should I wait answering because of someone just walked into the screen?
No, don't worry. It's all good.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay, sorry. Can you just repeat your question because I was a bit distracted?
No, sure. As you got older, I was mentioning that you pursued your PhD with psychology and law. And what was your inspiration to get this? And, how do you intend to use that in the future?
Well, since I was little, I knew I wanted to study psychology. Like, I just find it extremely interesting to understand the human brain, how it works, what drives people to do something, or how one person can be so different from another. So, yeah, I did my bachelor's in psychology in the Netherlands. And then
Hmm.
I felt I needed to do something a bit more exciting, but still related to the field. So I chose to specialize in sex offenders, and I did my master in psychology and law. So it was a combination between psychology and law. So this study was more about, let's say, how reliable are eyewitness testimonies, what makes criminals different from non-criminals or normal folks, let's say. So after this, I knew I really wanted to work in this field. So
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So I went on to do my master internship in Porto. So I did a research on sex offenders in Porto. And when I was done with that, I decided to apply for a PhD because I was like, okay, I really want to know more about this subject. I want to keep studying, you know. So I was like, okay, let me just try to get into the program of a PhD. But I was like, maybe I'm too young because I was 23 at that time.
Sure.
Uh, so I was like, yeah, maybe I don't have any publications. I don't have experience in the field. I just studied, like I don't have practical experience as a psychologist. But I tried it anyway, and somehow I got in. So I was extremely happy. So
Wow.
yeah, that's how I did my research in another like well, my research in for my PhD was about child molesters, rapists, and child pornographers to understand their motivations to do what they do. Let's say.
So basically, when you're talking to your friends and they look up and to the left, you know that they're lying.
Well, it's always a part of you. I'm not saying that I'm analyzing everybody and everyone that I
I'm just kidding. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I saw that once on, I don't know, one of the legal shows. They brought in a criminal psychologist, and they were like, "Yeah, there's different things that you can see." But that is so amazing. I mean, in the future, once you're done playing football, and you do other things in your career, is that what you're looking to get into from a criminal side or just as a psychologist side? What do you have in mind there?
Well, any type of experience in psychology is welcome, but I really, really like the criminal side of psychology. And of course, the sports psychology is something also very interesting. Although I don't have any experience in it, I had a
Sure.
subject actually during my bachelor's, and I found it super interesting also because it's applicable to me. But like everything in my life, I realized it's about like the female role in this world. Like women are always treated unfair,
Sure.
and it's not only when I'm talking about sex offenses, of course, also in sports. And that's why I was so like overwhelmed and happy when I heard about this WFLA and the whole idea around it. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now let's get into your career a little bit. When did you actually start playing American football, and why? Why did you decide to get involved?
Well, as I told you, I played soccer. I started playing soccer when I was 12, probably because
Hmm.
of my father. Then I came to Portugal. I was around, I guess I was 21 years old. And there was this open practice of flag football. Well, actually, me and my sister thought it was for America football, for tackle.
Sure.
But when we came there, it was flag football. But anyway, we tried and we really liked it. So we just got into it. And I played flag football for about 2 years. And in November 2018, if I'm correct, yes, I got involved in starting the very first female American football team of Portugal.
Sure.
And well, at that point, at that moment, like I never expected that this would be something like that. This would become my biggest ambition.
Yeah, it's funny how that thing works. I mean, 20 years ago when I stopped a bus and asked them to come over shopping in my store, that's how I got involved with Brazilian tourists. And here today, I live here in Brazil and have a talk show. So you never know how things are going to turn out, believe
Amazing. No,
me.
that's like actually this started all out of curiosity. Like I always played soccer, as I told you. I went to the gym, but I was like, okay, let me just try something new, and then it became something, yeah, like a big part of my life.
Yeah, and it's so addicting. I mean, I played football myself for almost 30 years. You know, we grow up with it, obviously, in the United States. And once you get a real taste of it, especially as you get into higher levels and things, believe me, there's nothing like the rush of knocking somebody on their ass in front of 80,000 people. I mean,
Indeed.
it's, believe me, I miss it. If I could still play, I'm 48 now. If I could still play, I would. But,
Well,
regardless, the thing about this, it's amazing for this league, and I'm not going to get off onto a tangent though, but the fact that, it doesn't matter the gender. I mean, the sport is the sport. And I think that the WFLA is really kind of going to hit a nerve, not only with the American audience, but just globally, because look at where you're pulling players from. You yourself in Portugal, you got girls in Guam that I'm talking to, girls in Australia, Brazil. I mean, it's unbelievable how global the league is going to be right from the onset, and I think that's going to pay big dividends.
Definitely. I'm super excited. I'm beyond excited.
So what position do you play, and do you have someone either in the NFL or any other leagues that you kind of look up to and try to model your game after?
Yes. Okay. So I used to play wide receiver and running back. About the players, I have a lot of respect for several players. One of them is Des Bryant, Barkley as well, and I also love the way Alvin Kamara trains. I've been seeing those, and I'm like, whoa! I try to train like that. And I also really think that LeBron James is an example. Of course, not from NFL, but
yeah, he's a hell of an athlete. Wow.
Yes, yes. So I will explain you why. For example, Des Bryant, this guy came from an extremely complicated background, like very poor conditions, but he made it to the NFL. So this story tells me that it gives hope to everybody. Let's say nothing is impossible as long as you don't give up, as long as you believe in yourself, as long as you work hard and keep believing. And it would have been easy for him to choose another life path, but instead of that, he became one of the best receivers in the NFL. So also the fact that he always wants to win, like he's really this winner type of guy, like I can identify myself with that. So I'm motivated by his story, and also me, like I keep working hard and I keep believing, and I think that with dedication and perseverance, anything is possible. Anything. And that's also how I got to the WFLA. It was always hard work, and keeping believing in myself.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, as your career progressed, I mean, you were getting noticed. The coach from the Italian national team noticed you and contacted you and wanted you to come play. Kind of tell us about that story as well.
Yeah, so I'm used to post my workout videos on Instagram, and over the time I got in touch with a lot of coaches from all over the world. They would send me feedback, for example, hey, maybe it's better if you move like this, or maybe it's better if you do that exercise to develop this kind of skills, So I was always very grateful for that feedback because I was new and I just wanted to get better, and receive the right advices. So what I was about to say. And then, then there was this one coach from Italy. His name is Mark, and he apparently he just sent my videos to the head coach of the national Italian team of female American football, and I was like overwhelmed. Like, wow, that's just amazing, So and not long after that, I received a letter from him if I wanted to attend training camp to see how I would function in the team. And 1 week after, I played my first American football game ever with them against Spain. So yeah, things went pretty fast for me in a short period of time, and it's kind of scary, but I definitely know that I'm blessed. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the funny thing. I mean, then your career was just gaining steam, and right out of the blue, the Paredes Lumberjacks, which is the men's team, actually invited you to train with them as well. So what happened with there? How did that happen?
Yeah, that's correct. Well, actually, they invited me as a team player to join their matches. So yeah, I was like extremely excited because my team, my female team, we are the only ones still. Like we like 2 years ago, we were founded, our team,
Right.
but till now there's no other female team. So it's hard for us to really play games, you know. So I was like super excited with the opportunity. I was like, yeah, sure. Now I finally can play games.
Sure.
But then the Federation of Portuguese American Football, they didn't let me. They said, you're a woman, so you cannot play with guys. Again, women are treated differently than guys. And I was like, why? I mean, I guess I'm responsible for my own body. Like, if I want to get hurt, let me be, you know, like, and I wanted to play with the guys. I wanted to get experience, and I just wanted it, but I couldn't because I was a woman. So I just decided to accept it because I didn't have a choice, and I just kept training with them. So that was also good for me. Like, I was really happy with that, at least. Yeah.
Well, and that kind of brings us now to the WFLA. So how did you end up with the WFLA, and what was it, you know, talk about the day that they contacted you, and I can imagine what was the emotions like for you when they finally said, hey, you're going to come over and play for New York.
Well, yeah. Well, I still actually can't believe that it is happening to me, you know?
Sure.
But I'll tell you how it went. So it was on the 1st of April. So I was like, I'm
April
not
Fool's
sure.
Day? Oh, shit. Who is this? One of my friends calling? Is this my sister? Oh. What's up?
That's what I was thinking. So on the 1st of April, I received the message from the New York Stars, like from their Instagram.
Sure.
Like, hey, we see you working. We're looking for the best athletes to join our team. Do you want to join us? I was like, what? I was starting like shaking, and my heart was like in my throat. I was like, okay. And then they were like, we were chatting a little bit, and they said like, can our owner give you a call in 2 hours? I was like, yeah, sure, why not? You know?
Sure.
So in 2 hours, I got the call from the owner, and it was Mr. Jeff Atkins, aka Ja Rule. So yeah.
Wait a minute. So you get Ja Rule called you?
I only realized this a week after it was him, because I was like, this voice is so familiar. Like, I was like playing some music in my head.
Were you like, Murder Inc., you know, come on.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is so familiar, but I was like, nah, this is impossible. This is not him. But I realized it was really him. I talked with him. So a week later or something, he sent me the LOI. And I signed, and it went just as quick as that.
Oh, that's so cool. You know, and I've seen, just from talking to Nancy Guerra, one of your teammates who we're going to talk to next week, she was talking to me about how involved he actually is, you know, with the game and stuff, and obviously being an owner with one of the teams. But just to get that kind of call, that must have been amazing. That's really cool to hear. And that's what I'm saying. These are the kind of stories, and one of the reasons why, you know, we're starting to cover WFLA a lot, because wow, those are things that you don't see in different kind of leagues and things of that nature. Now, when I grew up, you know, when you play in the NCAA in college, obviously colleges come over and they contact you and they kind of romance you, like, hey, we want you to come here, we want you to come there, things of that nature. But, you know, having somebody like that contact you and be like, hey, guess what, you're going to come and play for us, that's so cool. That's really neat.
And even like he said, like, hey, am I talking to Ambra? Like, he was making it so personal. I was like, yes, that's me.
And how's J-Lo doing? No. So Shanti, exactly. Yeah, man. Wow.
So like, it really felt like destiny, because the funny thing of this all was that a coach like John from Germany, he told me, like, I guess it was 1 or 2 months before, hey, Ambra, you know, there's this team in New York. They're still recruiting women for their WFLA. And he was like getting information from me, like, you have to send your highlights. They're still recruiting. I'm sure that this is like the right team for you. And I was like, you know, John, I'm not so good yet, and I'm not so confident. Just never mind. He was like, no, come on, you don't lose anything with it. And like, serious, a month later, they contacted me. It's so strange. Like, it must have been destiny.
Wow. Yeah, I believe it. I definitely believe it. It's so cool. So what is life like for you now? Now with the coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you're calling it now, it's put restrictions on normal training procedures. But what are you doing to prepare yourself now for training camp, which I'm guessing is going to begin like in March or February of next year?
We don't know yet. Like the season will start in May 2021, but we don't know about training camp. Like next week, we are supposed to have a Zoom meeting with our owner and with the CEO, with Lupi, to understand a bit better what's going to happen. Because we're all a bit, we don't know. Nobody knows because of the situation, and now because of this second outbreak, it can be even more difficult. And the fact that Trump closed the borders again is going to be, hard
Right.
for us foreigners to get inside of the country. But for me, during this period, I never stopped training. One, because I just can't sit still. And two, because I know that I really need to work my butt off to reach the level of my teammates. Like I know that I'm the one with the least experience, and they are so experienced, they're so strong, they are so confident, So at this moment, I'm doing like a specialized program. My sister's helping me with that actually. She's a strength and conditioning coach, personal trainer. So she designed a program for me, like all personal, to help me with my preparations. And also this coach John that I told you about, he also sent me a very good program. So I'm combining the two to try to really upgrade my level. But it's hard when you're not training in a team. So I'm also doing my coaches, but I'm not training with my team yet because we still can't. But I guess anytime soon we'll start. But yeah, we lost a lot of time, but at least we could have worked on our individual weaknesses. That's what I tried, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny that you say you couldn't sit still. I interviewed Paula Chiarocci last week with the Phoenix Red Tails, and she's here in Brazil. And anytime I talk to her on what's up, about getting different things, getting set for her interview and stuff, she was either on the treadmill or doing exercises. And I swear to God, she like, hey, Sean, I'll get back to you in a few minutes. I'm like, Jesus, man, do you ever stop working out? It was hilarious, man. But I mean, that's the kind of dedication that you see from all the athletes. I see the videos and the Instagrams, and everybody's just going full bore at it. And obviously, the conditioning part and the individual physical part right now is the only thing you really can do until, we get closer. And hopefully we'll get out of this mess in the next month or two and be able to move forward.
But it's amazing indeed to see all those athletes working. The thing is that they are so excited about this league that they're like, okay, we need to get fit. We need to get strong. And it's just amazing to see them working out like crazy. It's so cool to see. Yeah, it motivates me a lot, and I really like to be part of that. I'm so happy.
Now, the WFLA is really kind of going all in on this. Your CEO is amazing. They're wanting to get to 32 teams and play on Wednesday nights. What ingredient do you think the WFLA has that will make it more successful than other leagues in the professional ranks that have tried but have failed?
Yeah, well, this league, as I told you before, is like a dream come true for a lot of women. But I really think that they have the right people aboard to make this an enormous success. And of course, the fact that they will be the first league to actually pay us women to play. I mean,
sure,
that makes them completely different than the other ones. But I think it's also like the CEO, like Lupi, Link, the commissioner, the owners, like everybody's working day and night to get this whole infrastructure together of this new league. And they're doing lives every night. I see. Sometimes you're also joining them, right? Like
sure. Oh, yeah.
And like you see that they're doing everything for us to make this happen. And I'm so extremely excited to see this really, working out at a certain moment. So it's definitely the right people. And the fact that they are really working for us to let us get paid to play. That's something completely new.
Yeah, you can see the energy in the lives, with Lynx, with Lupi. Wow, I mean, it's fire. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. and they sometimes bring on, new signees, like literally sign the same day. And some of them are just bursting with emotion, and it's really incredible to watch. So I'm excited for you guys. I really think that it's going to be a game changer, and I think it's going to do well. Now, I've talked to a lot of the athletes that are playing for the WFLA, and it's clear there's not only the big enthusiasm, but there's a sense of, like we talked about a little bit, of like a sisterhood, like you guys are all in this together. Can you talk about that, and how does that help you while you're preparing by yourself, getting ready for the season?
Well, that's very true. Like, all women are so extremely supportive. Like, it's incredible. We don't even know each other personally, but it already feels like we are a family, and everybody's like supporting each other. And the day that I signed the LOI, like the day that the New York Stars actually posted about me signing the LOI, I received like a lot of messages from all the other girls from the New York Stars, like, "Hey, we're so happy to have you aboard. Like, welcome to the league." And it was so good for me to
Sure.
have those messages. And for example, Ingrid and Nancy, they were so supportive from the beginning, and we're in touch like almost every day. And then there's this girl from New York Stars. Her name is Nana. That's her nickname. She's from Finland, and she also told me, like, Ambra, if you need some help with football knowledge or whatever that you lack, we can have a Zoom meeting together. I can explain you and stuff. So everybody is really trying to help each other, and it's just so amazing to see women empowering other women. That's all where this whole league about, women empowering women.
Sure. Now, it was just announced today. Well, I don't know if it was announced today, but I saw today that the American Football Federation of Uganda, that's in Africa for those who don't know, has brought you into the AFFU to strengthen and develop the women's football program in Uganda. What is this project about, and how did you get involved with them?
Well, it started recently. Like, I got in touch with one coach of an American football team in Uganda, and he told me that they were building this, but they have a hard time, of course. And so, but today I talked with the president of the league, and he asked me if I wanted to help them to build up this female league, because apparently there's a lot of females in Uganda that want to play American football. And when I heard it, I was like, what? Here in Portugal, we have one team. In Uganda, there's lots of women who want to play the sport. So I was like, okay, we have to find a way to help these women. I don't have a clear plan yet, because it's something new. It's like something of these days. But I'm really willing to do something, like to help them in whatever way. So I'm really actually honored that they contacted me and that they wanted me to help them, like, voluntarily. So I'm really excited to start thinking of a plan, and to maybe even go there to help them, or to give them some trainings, or, like, I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, in Uganda, of all places, I mean, seriously, it's, most people besides the World Cup, probably as far as American football, wouldn't give Uganda two thoughts. And, here's another country that's just adding the game, and you're going to be a part of it. That's so awesome. It really is.
Incredible. Yeah, I was so overwhelmed when I heard that there were women that wanted to play the game. I was like, what?
Yeah.
No, you help them. I mean, why not? So yeah, let's see. I'm really gonna do my best to help them in whatever way. I will really try, definitely.
So I'm already giving you the moniker of Batwoman. So once you start merchandising that, I'm expecting my 15% cut. No, I'm just playing. But we got the Wonder Woman coming on Tuesday. So you got Batwoman and Wonder Woman on the same team with the New York Stars. So that's going to be awesome. What I'm curious about is, there's going to be a lot of kids, the younger generation. There's going to be young girls that are going to be watching this sport, and obviously it's going to, boost their enthusiasm by tenfold, if not more. What can you say to kids that are going to be watching this, and what would you say to them as far as them getting involved in the sport of American football, and what their dreams may be to be in your shoes one day?
Okay, I would tell them that if they really want something, like either in sports or whatever, they have to work for it, and don't let anybody tell them otherwise. Like, go for your dreams, work hard, show what you're good at, practice visualization. I used to do it a lot, and it really works out. Yeah, and just go after your dreams. That's all I can tell you, and never give up. Don't let anybody make you give up. That's my advice.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I've already told some of my friends down here and some of my friends in the USA. I really think the NCAA and the, even the high school levels are really going to take notice and start putting that as part of their programs. Lupi mentioned the other day that she's having some talks with the SEC maybe, and, down the line, and they have to pay attention. They have to get involved. Because it's going to be one of those things to where it's going to be seismic. I think and you have to have that flow from a young age like we do in men's football. You got to be able to have your bodies develop to get accustomed to the game and just go to the next level like they do in basketball, for an example as well. But I really think that, in the next 5 years, you not only see it that way, but that, you guys are going to be filling NFL stadiums. I have no doubt. I think the game is, people are thirsting for something that's not only new, but it's not a fad. I mean, you guys really have a product that's going to do well. And I've seen the athletes. I've watched a lot of film, and as a former player, I know how to break down film. And Jesus, I mean, there is some real talent that people are going to be like, what in the hell am I watching? Because you just never knew that this was really going on. Because look, the media obviously jumps on, college men's athletics, college men's football, so on and so forth, and women's athletics has not really gotten that kind of attention except for maybe soccer, like in the U.S. And the U.S. women's team, for instance, that exploded. I was there for the '99 World Cup. I watched them fill stadiums. And people jumped all over it. And I think it's going to be the same fever, but it's going to be more tangible because this is every year. This is every season. It's not every 4 years. And I'm really excited for you guys and can't wait to watch you guys on the field. This last part this is the Slack attack. We call this. This is our rapid fire round. We just fire off a few questions for you. You don't get a lot of time to think, and you just shoot an answer real quick, okay?
All right.
All right, so cups of coffee per day.
1.
Favorite football movie? American football.
Game and Concussion, 2.
I'm sorry, which one?
Concussion.
Okay. Beaches or mountains?
Beaches.
Okay. Drake or Nicki Minaj?
Drake.
Favorite song to do karaoke to?
Eye of the Tiger.
Holy cow, that's awesome.
That just came up.
I can't even imagine that. And well, after a few beers, hey, it's all good. And favorite NFL team?
Oh, God, that's always a hard question. I'm more like with players, but if I have to choose a team, let's say Patriots.
The Patriots. Don't say that when you get to New York. You might have a little bit of a problem.
Right. Whatever.
Well, listen, Ambra, it's been a pleasure. I'm really excited to have a few moments with you, and we look forward to doing this with more of the WFLA, more teams, and more coaches and players, and look forward to watching your career. And we'll definitely bring you on in the future when you get closer to the season, maybe during season, and like to visit with you again and see how things are going.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. It was a great interview. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. It's awesome. And we'll touch base soon.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much.
Take
care.
Have a great day. You too.